So we got a couple nights off from the Heat now. Like I said, they're back in action on Friday night against Indiana. But the Panthers are back tonight. The Panthers coming off a 7-3 drubbing in Boston a couple nights ago. They face a New Jersey team that has been one of the biggest surprises in the National Hockey League this year, but have lost 6 in a row. That's right. The Devils lost last night in Carolina. I believe their 6th straight loss. Their 5th straight loss was Saturday against the Panthers. The Panthers went there to New Jersey and they won, I think it was 4-2. I think it was as good a win as the Panthers have had this year because, like I said, the Devils, even though it's struggle city for them right now, they have been probably the biggest surprise in the league. They have been excellent. So tonight you got a tough test. That's always a weird one, right? So the Devils are here tonight. Oh, it's good. They've lost 6 in a row. That's really good. Now, I usually think different there, where they're not going to lose 100 in a row. They're going to win eventually. They're going to snap that streak. I always think it's weird when you're playing a team that's lost 6 in a row like this. You know you're going to get a super effort from them. They're trying to snap out of it. They're tired of losing. They've shown that they're a pretty good team before this losing streak. You probably say, oh, good, we're catching them at a good time. I think it's always weird when you're facing a team that's in the middle of a losing streak like that. You could totally lose this game tonight. And, it's the Panthers. They're not that team anymore. They're not the team that we saw from the last couple of years. And now they're just back to being the Panthers. That's what they're just the Panthers. They're a team that's 3 games under 500. They're always, 4 points back of the final playoff spot. And that's what they are this year. That's what they're going to be the entire year. So you got a game tonight. All these games are super meaningful. It's one thing about the NHL regular season that I love, especially compared to the NBA. It really feels like the regular season is important. Every game feels important. And all the players play. I mean, that's kind of a big thing. All the players play. Now, Barkov is out again tonight. He's got the knee injury. It looks like he's out again tonight. Radko Gudas, I know, was a game-time decision a couple of nights ago, so hopefully they get him back on the blue line. And Anton Lundell is close to returning as well, so they could get some bodies back. But you're not going to have any load management. You're not wondering who's going to sit out to rest. Nah, hockey players don't do that sissy crap. So Panthers, Devils tonight, live from FLA Live Arena. Looking to get back on track there. So like I said, you got a couple nights off from the Heat, but you do have the Panthers in action tonight. As far as the NFL goes, and we'll get to some of that Bradley Chubb stuff in a second. I liked what he had to say. But as far as the NFL goes, tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football, we're actually pretty interested in the Thursday Night Football game tomorrow night. It's Jets and Jaguars. It's interesting from a Jaguar perspective because they're a game back of winning the NFC South, or, leading the NFC South. Can you imagine? I mean, whatever team wins that division is likely going to be under 500. Tennessee is 7-7. A team that's under 500. Not one of those years where the division winner was 8-8 or the division winner was 9-7. It's an uneven schedule now. It's an odd number of games now. It's 17. You could totally have an 8-9 team, a 9-loss team hosting a playoff game in the wild card round. I got no problem. That stuff's fluky. I got no problem with it. But you're interested because Trevor Lawrence has been playing great, and they're a game back of leading the NFC South. And then the Jets, you're obviously rooting for them to lose. The Jets are just a game back of the Dolphins for the final playoff spot there. Let's take a look at... So here's what we got. And remember, it's a full slate of games on Saturday for the NFL. There's only 3 games on Sunday. Dolphins game's a standalone game at 1 o'clock against the Packers. Here's what you got. Here's what we're keeping an eye on. So you got Buffalo. Buffalo is at Chicago this weekend. The weather is going to be rough, but Buffalo, they can certainly handle it. Everybody knows that. Kansas City, they are hosting Seattle. So the 2 top teams in the AFC, you feel like they got very winnable games. Cincinnati is at New England. I think New England's done, all right? And Tennessee at 7-7, they are the 4th division winner. They are hosting Houston. Tannehill's hurt. Tennessee can totally lose that game. I mean, you saw Houston, they've been playing teams tough still. Houston, who was it they lost to, in overtime? The Chiefs. Tennessee can totally lose that game, which makes tomorrow night Jaguars and Jets that much more interesting. Now, as far as the wild card teams go, the Dolphins are a game back of Baltimore, but do own the tiebreak. Lamar Jackson is questionable. Baltimore hosts Atlanta this weekend. Baltimore, if Lamar Jackson doesn't play, Baltimore can totally lose that game. Totally. And that's important for the Dolphins, all right? The LA Chargers, 8-6. They currently own the head-to-head tiebreak with the Dolphins. They're at Indianapolis. I don't know how good the Chargers are, but you got to expect the Chargers to win that game in Indianapolis. So the Dolphins, in order to keep pace, of course, the Dolphins have the Packers. And then on the outside looking in, New England and the Jets are both 7-7. Patriots have Cincinnati. The Jets have Jacksonville tomorrow night. So if Baltimore, I think the one that we're keeping an eye on is Baltimore and Atlanta for sure. And I think Baltimore can lose that game. So if Baltimore loses that game, let's assume the Chargers win. The Dolphins can jump up to 6, which would have them potentially facing Cincinnati in the first round. You want the Dolphins to eventually jump all the way up to 5, where you would play Tennessee or Jacksonville in the first round. But right now, as currently lined up, the Dolphins have the 7th spot, which would send them in the first round at the number 2 seed, which is currently Kansas City. So, Bradley Chubb yesterday was on the Voncast. That's Von Miller's podcast, the Voncast. And Bradley Chubb spoke a little bit about a potential playoff matchup with Kansas City.
As of today, your first round playoff matchup would be versus the Chiefs. How do you feel about that matchup?
Man, you know I'm ready to go, bro. Anytime I got a chance to play them, Brad, hey, I'm going to give them my all, dog, for sure. So the way things going right now, if that's the matchup, it's going to be dope, man. It's going to be a kind of like a circle moment, bro. Like everything coming together. Like, you know what I'm saying? Being in Denver and not being able to get past that hump and being on a new team, a new situation, and being faced with that same obstacle again. So it's going to be dope. Hopefully it works out like that.
Right.
But we're going to play these last 3 out, man, and make sure we make the most of them. But if that were to happen, I know Tyreek would be happy. I know I would be happy. So it'll be dope.
So there you got a little bit of Bradley Chubb there on the Voncast. And I mean, I'm not thrilled with the idea of playing at Kansas City, but we're keeping track of these games here because we're hoping the Dolphins can jump all the way up to number 5, at worst number 6. I don't love the idea of playing at Cincinnati in the playoffs either, but the Dolphins already played at Cincinnati, and they were totally in that game for the most, if I remember correctly, they were in the game for the most part. I mean, they struggled, obviously, once Tua got hurt, but I feel like they were in that game. Look, I like hearing a little bit from Bradley Chubb there. I like the confidence. Let me give you a little bit more of Bradley Chubb. Again, he was on the Voncast yesterday, and here's Von Miller asking him just about being traded to the Dolphins.
They traded you and a 2025 fifth-round pick for Chase Edmonds and a 2023 first-round pick and a 2024 fourth-round pick. How does that make you feel that the Miami Dolphins sent all of that to get Bradley Chubb? That's got to make you feel like, hey, these boys want me. These boys. Yeah. How does that make you feel, my boy?
On top of the world, bro, honestly, man, just to know, like I said, bro, it makes you think back to all the stuff that you've been through, all the stuff that you fought through to get to that point, and like to see it wasn't going unnoticed. You know what I mean? Sometimes you might do something and like, oh, nobody saw that, man. Like, I just put my all into that. Nobody noticed it, or whatever. I'm gonna just do it again. You know what I mean? And you start seeing those little wins add up, and when you see it all come out like the way it did, man, it's just dope. It's just like a self-fulfilling feeling. Is one of those things that you want it again. You don't want that feeling to stop. You want to continue to try to be the best, man. And with all the talent in this league now, man, it's going to be hard. It's going to have to push you. It have to make you, you know what I'm saying, 10 times better in the off season, during the season and stuff like that too. So, man, it was a blessing, man, just to be wanted, be felt, all that, and trying to bring all that energy out here to Miami now.
So there's a little bit of Bradley Chubb. Again, that's from the Voncast. And, it sounds like he's, here's something I want to throw out there. Like, I was having this conversation with a buddy of mine yesterday as well, just as far, and, Dave Hyde from the Sun Sentinel brought this up when we talked to him a couple of weeks ago, where I specifically said, I was like, Bradley Chubb had a pretty good game. And Dave made a good point where it's like he's being paid to be a lot better than pretty good. He's being paid to be excellent all the time. And that's true. But here's the thing. Like, I was having this conversation with a buddy of mine yesterday about Bradley Chubb and his production, and I mentioned this to Ruth Polinsky at the beginning of this week as well. Look, I'm not an X's and O's guy, all right? That's not my thing. But I do have to believe that part of the reason that Jalen Phillips has been getting in the quarterback's face the last few weeks. Jalen Phillips is, he's on a tear right now. He's doing a terrific job. Even for a layperson like myself, don't we have to figure that there's so much going on the field that we're not aware of? Don't we have to logically assume that Bradley Chubb's presence on one side of the line there is helping Jalen Phillips on the other side? Without being a football expert, without knowing everything that's happening on the field, I feel like that's a pretty logical one to decipher. That the attention that is likely being paid to Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips right now, the last few weeks, last month, is playing his best football of the season, right? I think we could all agree on that. Well, it coincidentally, it appears at the same time as Bradley Chubb being here. I don't think that's a coincidence. It's one of those deals where, a guy like, let's say Christian Wilkins in this instance, where if you have a great defensive tackle, they're being double teamed, they're taking up so much space there, and it opens things up for linebackers, opens things up for other guys on the line. Those old Zach Thomas, man. One of the reasons Zach Thomas was so successful. Look, Zach Thomas, unbelievable. He should be in the Hall of Fame. It's a disgrace. But you don't think Zach Thomas knows what Tim Bowens and Darryl Gardner were doing for him up the middle on that, defensive line? Freeing things up for him. How about Adewale Ogunleye before he went and signed that huge contract with Chicago? You don't think Jason Taylor being on the other side of that line of scrimmage had anything to do with Ogunleye being freed up and being able to have that monster season, all the sacks here before he left and got the big money with the Bears? I don't know for sure, but I gotta figure that Bradley Chubb's presence is really helping Jalen. So a couple other things I want to get to here before we do big deal or not a big deal. Again, Wednesday night, all we got going on tonight. You got no football tomorrow night. We got the Panthers tonight. We got AEW Dynamite tonight. Come on, the Elite. Death Triangle. I assume that they're going to have their 5th match. Death Triangle right now up 3 matches to 1. So we'll be watching a little bit of AEW Dynamite tonight. Again, make sure that you're listening or watching on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@ZASLOW Show. Make sure you're listening to It's Still Real to Me. It drops every Saturday. This past weekend, it was Sunday, but it drops every Saturday, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It's Still Real to Me is myself and my partner, Joey Levine. We cover all the big stories in pro wrestling for the week. There's always a ton going on. So, got my stories from a couple nights ago, Monday Night Raw, which I have not finished yet. I'm behind on that. Tonight, we got AEW Dynamite. Hey, want to remind everybody, if you're trying to get a little bit loose tonight, you want something to drink, you want to try something new, I'm sending you to a brand new lifestyle. Johnny Cuba, European roots with a Caribbean soul. You start your evening if you want to sit back, kick back, relax out on the patio, by the pool, the sun's going down. You got a refreshing German lager in a can. That's right. Pick up a 6-pack of Johnny Cuba in a can right now. You can go to Sedano's, Presidente, Winn-Dixie, Fresco y Mas. At Winn-Dixie and Fresco, you got great holiday specials right now through the holiday season on 6-packs of Johnny Cuba cans. So you head on over there right now. Look, you could also pick up merchandise. You go on the Johnny Cuba website. I link to it in my social media. Remember, you always got to drink responsibly, but if you're out there on the street, you see the Johnny Cuba tent, you see the Johnny Cuba truck, like, oh yeah, there you go. Zaslow's been telling me that's his new beer, Johnny Cuba. So make sure you go check it out right now. Sedano's, Presidente, Winn-Dixie, Fresco y Mas. Like I said, great holiday specials on 6-packs of Johnny Cuba. Go grab yourself a Johnny, and remember, Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. So before we get to big deal or not a big deal, a few other things as far as the Dolphins are concerned. So I was in the Miami Herald this morning, and I saw, this is funny because, you'll have people who doubt the Dolphins, right? Throughout the season, even when the Dolphins were in the middle of their 5-game streak, either it's because they've been playing against teams that they were favored in all those games, which is fair, or Tua, he's getting a ton of help from Tyreek Hill, which, by the way, look at the great young wide receiver, the great young quarterbacks in the league. Joe Burrow, right? Just look at the guys in his class. Joe Burrow, right? He's got Jamar Chase. Justin Herbert. He's got Keenan Allen. Even Josh Allen this past week. Not exactly a coincidence that Josh Allen began to turn the corner when they signed Stephon Diggs. And now, Tua, he's got Tyreek Hill. Like, it's not a coincidence. Tua's only successful, he's got Tyreek Hill. It's part of the equation to put these young quarterbacks in a position to succeed. It's part of the equation. And the Dolphins solved that part. So anyway, it's funny though, where you feel like the Dolphins and Tua should be getting credit and they're not getting credit, because now the Dolphins, in the midst of a 3-game losing streak, I feel like they're getting a lot of credit right now. I feel like you're getting a lot of, like what I read here from Tony Dungy. So this was in the Herald this morning. Tony Dungy, 3 losses but 3 tough places to play. Their offense got going against Buffalo, so I'm encouraged. Now, those are games you have to win if you want to be a playoff team, but I was encouraged. And I feel like I'm hearing a lot of that, where they got back. Look, moral victories, you don't want it. And I wasn't interested in hearing that either the first couple of days after the game. But, yeah, they went out there and they should. Tua can play in the cold. They could play in that kind of weather. They could score a ton of points on the road. They didn't make enough plays at the end. The better team won. The better quarterback won. But I feel like you got a lot of people, despite a 3-game losing. It's weird, right? 5-game win streak, I'm not sure about the Dolphins. They may be fugazi. 3-game losing streak, you know what? I'm encouraged with the Dolphins. I feel like I'm hearing a lot of that. It's interesting. But here from Tony Dungy, where he also went on and said, I would have one suggestion for Coach Mike McDaniel. Run the ball in the red zone. When you're averaging 8 yards a carry, please keep running it. And I talked about this a couple days ago. Not that he's wrong. And it's certainly easy to second guess it now, knowing the result, knowing what I don't care about playing the result. Playing the result is such a stupid thing to say. Something happens, you talk about it. That's playing the result. That's how this thing operates. Playing the result is a stupid phrase. But anyway, I thought Mike McDaniel had an interesting quote after the game when asked about getting away from the run in the fourth quarter. Look, the Dolphins were running the ball all over the place in the first half, especially in the first quarter. Why did they get away with it? Well, if the team you're playing against, if the coaches are worth anything, they're going to make some small adjustments. And one of those adjustments is, especially in the weather, they're going to force Tua to throw the ball. And they want to stop the run. And I thought Mike McDaniel had an interesting quote where it's, they're trying to stop the run. They made some adjustments. So we can either keep trying to run the ball, which, you can keep trying it. We can either keep trying to run the ball, or we can pivot and do what this offense is built to do, which is pass the ball. I don't really know how. Like, I get what Tony Dungy and other people are saying too about run the ball. And they did run the ball that game. And they ran it with success, especially when you go back to the previous games against the Chargers, against the 49ers, and even the win against the Texans. They were not running the ball at all. So they ran the ball, and they ran the ball well this past weekend. But doesn't that make sense what Mike McDaniel says there? If the defense is, they are stacking the box. They want to stop you from running it because they've adjusted to how you were running the ball well early in the game. There's weather now, so they want to force you to throw it. You can either keep running it, which is what they're trying to stop, or you can do what you're good at, and that's pass the ball. So I can't be critical about the play calling in the fourth quarter. I can't be critical about running the ball. Also, I want to mention here Javon Holland. Javon Holland's been pretty good at defending Tua. Remember, he was on that Instagram last week. He did the Instagram Live where, I think I played the clip for you, where he was, the fake fans, y'all so quick to jump off the bandwagon. He's right. And I even the people who are sticking with Tua, like, you got to put out there on social media, Tua's still my quarterback. Like, really? That's how fickle that you possibly are, that after 2 games, you have to tell everyone that he's still your quarterback? Shut up. You sound stupid. All right, butch up a little bit. But here was, Holland spoke about that the other day. Quote, Tua's been balling all year. We're in the NFL, which everyone is getting paid for a reason because everybody's an elite competitor. So there are going to be games where sometimes the other guy getting paid on the other side of the ball is going to have an advantage against the best of an individual, which, by the way, such a perfect way of saying it, too. It's like, oh, why don't they do this? Oh, well, you know what? There's another team on the other side there who's trying to stop you from doing those things. Javon Holland gets it. So when Tua's out there balling and doing his thing, he's getting all the love, but he has one poor game, and now he's the worst quarterback in the league. That's just something that irritated me. You got to have faith in somebody. You got to believe in somebody because like we have throughout this whole time here, we believed in him. We know what he could do, and you guys see what he could do because he's a hell of a player. He leads us on the field and off the field. That's a defensive guy talking, too. That's important. Somebody asked me if I was going to cry or something. I was not going to cry. I was just laying down because I was laying down and laying on the floor, kind of side chilling. Yeah, if you watch the video, he was like kind of side chilling. So, anyway, I like Javon Holland. I like guys on the defense defending Tua, man. But, yeah, some of you guys, you need to butch up a little bit. Tua's head, look, realistically, well, not realistically, like the reality is Tua's 8-3 as a starter this year. Come on. What are we talking about here? And the 3 games that he lost were all on the road. 2 of those 3, and I'm not defending his play in 2 of the games because 2 of the games he played really poor, especially the San Francisco game. But 2 of Tua's 3 losses this year, all 3 are on the road, and 2 of them are against pretty much the AFC favorite Buffalo, and while not first place, but the NFC favorite in San Francisco. You don't need to go out there and let everybody know Tua's still your quarterback. All right? It's silliness. Let's do big deal or not a big deal. Come on. All right, here we go. Big deal or not a big deal. To wrap every show, you know how we do this, all right? And I want to start off here with The Rock. So everybody knows The Rock, right? And The Rock was Black Adam. Black Adam's part of the DC universe. And DC is essentially with James Gunn taking over. DC is kind of hitting the reset button. So everybody's out. Like Gal Gadot's out. Henry Cavill is out. They're starting over, which sucks because I really liked the story that Zack Snyder was telling, but it'll probably be really good whatever they decide to do. I just hate the whole casting new actors and that kind of deal. But big deal or not a big deal, The Rock put out a statement yesterday. Here it is. My passionate friends, I wanted to give you a long-awaited Black Adam update regarding the character's future in the new DC universe. James Gunn and I connected, and Black Adam will not be in their first chapter of storytelling. However, DC and $7, that's his production company, have agreed to continue exploring the most valuable ways Black Adam can be utilized in future DC multiverse chapters. James and I have known each other for years and have always rooted for each other to succeed. It's no different now, and I will always root for DC and Marvel to win and win big. After 15 years of relentless hard work to finally make Black Adam, I'm very proud of the film we delivered for fans worldwide. I will always look back on the fan reaction to Black Adam with tremendous gratitude, humility, and love. We did great. And then, he's thanking everybody. I'm going not a big deal because to me, yeah, that sounds just like a lot of lip service to calm everybody down right now. Black Adam's not in the first chapter of storytelling, but we're going to continue to work together, to see if we could, collaborate in the future. That to me means Black Adam's out. Like, why would this version of Superman, this version of Wonder Woman, this version of Batman all be out, but we're keeping Black Adam? He's not that important. He's not important enough. So I'm sure The Rock is hoping that Black Adam will be thrown in somewhere and he'll be able to continue with this role. But that's not how it read to me. That's not what it sounds like to me. So, yeah. I think he's out, and I'm going big deal. All right. Number 2, big deal or not a big deal. Mandy Rose from WWE, former WWE NXT Women's Champion. She lost the title last week after a 400-plus day reign and then was released the next day because she's got this fan site account, which WWE deems inappropriate. Well, Mandy Rose apparently recently, like over the last month, made a reported $500,000 with this site, which goes to show you, I think she was probably given an option. And she was like, now, did she know she was going to get fired over it? Maybe not. But I think she was probably given an option. She's like, yeah, they're not going to fire me. I don't want to give this up. I'm making too much money. It's being reported that she's going to become a self-made millionaire. Good for her. That's why she didn't want to give it up, even if it cost her a job at WWE. So I'm going big deal right there. Good for her. Good for Mandy Rose. Number 3, big deal or not a big deal? Franco Harris, legendary Pittsburgh Steelers receiver. He passed away. Immaculate reception. Everybody knows that it was trending on Twitter. He passed away. It was announced this morning. Cause of death was not announced. 72 years old. That's a big deal. Everybody likes Franco Harris, and, forever he will be known as having one of the all-time biggest plays in the history of the NFL. So Franco Harris passes away. That's a big deal. And finally here, how big deal or not a big deal? How about the University of Miami men's basketball team? I told you this yesterday. Number 22 Miami Hurricanes, who are really good. They are now 12-1 after beating number 6 Virginia at Watsco Center last night. Virginia now with just their second loss of this. I think it was their second loss. Number 6 Virginia upset by number 22 Miami. A 2-point win. I think it was 64-62. Coach O and them boys. Isaiah Long and them boys. So the Hurricanes, start paying attention. I'm telling you. The Canes basketball team, not only are they definitely a tournament team this year, but they may be a team that makes some real noise in the tournament this year. So keep an eye on that. You got to figure with the new rankings that they're going to jump into the low teens, I believe. They're really good, Canes basketball this year. That's a big deal. And that right there is another edition. A big deal or not a big deal. Yes! Excellent job today. Excellent job by everyone. Got a fun show planned for everyone tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you what it is, though. I'm going to have you tune in, and you're going to have to be surprised, and you're going to have to find out everything that we got going on. So like I said, you got the Panthers tonight, you got No Heat, you got AEW Dynamite. Make sure you're listening to It's Still Real to Me. Hey, on this podcast, make sure you like, you rate, you comment, all that good stuff. That does good for the algorithm, all right? And I got to make sure everybody knows, if you're looking for somewhere to watch the game tomorrow night, Briny Irish Pub. Jaguars, Jets, they always got you football, and they got the NFL Sunday ticket there, which is kind of going to be the Saturday ticket this week. But I'm planning on being there. Briny Irish Pub, Atlantic Boulevard, all the way to the ocean. But don't park in the ocean. Park around the back of the Briny, all right? You can park there, free parking. They'll validate you. Briny Irish Pub, Pompano Beach. I'll be there Sunday for the Dolphins game. They got live music every night, including tonight starting at 7 p.m. You got Greg B. And you got Wednesday fish and chip specials tonight, just $13.99. Briny Hour, that's the happy hour. Briny Hour, Monday through Friday from 4 to 7 p.m. And like I told you, live music 7 days a week, including tonight, starting at 7 p.m. Briny Irish Pub, the world's greatest upscale dive bar. That's what we're talking about. All right, very good. So there you have it. That's today's show. Appreciate everyone's hard work in putting the show together today. Thank you to everyone. Love you guys out there. We'll talk to you on ZASLOW Show 2.0 tomorrow. You know what that means.